Welcome to my presentation on negligence, specifically relating to schools. This is a very important topic for schools because you need to know how to avoid negligence in order to not be negligent, and what defenses there are in the case of negligence. This relates to ISLC standards number 3, specifically relating to having a safe learning environment, and number 5, acting in a fair and ethical manner. If you are negligent, you are not providing a safe learning environment or acting in a fair and ethical way. An unintentional tort is an unintentional damage to property or a personal injury caused by another person. The most common form of unintentional tort is negligence. Negligence is failure to exercise a reasonable standard of care. 4 elements must be present for there to be negligence. All 4 must exist: standard of care, breach of duty, proximate cause, and injury. Standard of care is the degree of prudence and caution required of an individual. In this case, it would be for a teacher or administrator. What would a reasonable person do in this situation? As a school staff member, you have a responsibility to care for your students, keep them safe. Breach of duty. A teacher does not follow the correct standard of care. They do not act as a reasonably prudent person would in the same situation. Was the supervision appropriate for the age group and activity? Obviously, you're going to have different supervision for a kindergarten class versus a high school class. Could the injury have been foreseen and prevented? Do you take every reasonable step to prevent injuries from occurring? Proximate cause. The reason for an injury must be due to the breach of duty of the teacher. The reason why an injury occurred was because the teacher or staff member did not act in a safe manner. Like in this comic, it is not proximate cause because the bushes were not trimmed properly. There also must be an injury. The injury must be caused by action or failure to act by the teacher or staff member. That's a breach of duty. So again, if there's no injury, there's no negligence. There are 4 basic defenses for negligence: contributory negligence, assumption of risk, comparative negligence, and immunity. Contributory negligence is negligent conduct by the injured party that is a contributing cause of his or her injuries. That the injured student at least partially caused the injury. If so, the teacher or administrator was not negligent legally. If the student did not follow the teacher's directions and then he got injured, the teacher is not responsible for that. Assumption of risk. Students assume some risk for certain activities in which they participate. You cannot sue just because you have an injury in a football game or football practice. You're assuming some risk is involved with that activity. The school still must meet a reasonable standard of care. The school could be found negligent if they didn't provide the proper safety equipment, for example. But you do assume certain risk with certain activities. Comparative negligence is the amount of negligence attributed by each party. How much did the student and school contribute to the injury? This does not completely remove the school from responsibility. So, for example, rather than contributory negligence, where if the student is responsible at all, the case is thrown out. If the school is found to be 80% responsible, they will pay 80% of the damages. Immunity. In certain cases, schools can claim immunity because you cannot sue the state or federal government, of which schools are a part. However, this does not protect members of the organization, i.e. the teachers or staff or administrators. However, this is a defense that is seldom used. There are some court cases which help to define negligence. In the case Mastrangino versus Westside Union High School, there was a chemistry experiment explosion. In that case, the teacher was found negligent. They were doing a very dangerous experiment that they probably should not have been doing in a basic chemistry class anyway, even though the teacher was watching over them it was very dangerous, and there was a chance that they could do it wrong and cause an explosion. They did, and the student got severely injured, and the teacher was found negligent. In the case Station versus Travelers Insurance Company, alcohol explodes on a young student. Same type of situation. It was an experiment they shouldn't have been doing anyway, probably. It was very dangerous, and the teacher was found negligent. In the case Conant versus Fremont County School District, an injury happened while the teacher was in the adjoining room at the time of the accident. In this case, the teacher was not found negligent. The reason being, even if the teacher was there, the injury probably still would have occurred. You can't watch over every single student 100% of the time. The accident was not something that they could have really anticipated happening. What they were doing was safe, and so the teacher was not found negligent. If you're asking students to do safe things and some kind of strange, unforeseen accident happens, the teacher may not be found negligent. And here are my resources. Thank you.